I don't really like being behind the camera that much. I like being behind the camera when someone else is filming, but I don't actually like that. I prefer being the subject. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Chatzzz. And we've got a very, very special guest today, Max Kirton. Welcome to the podcast. My words, I got my...
Thank you very much, Sam.
So yeah, I messaged you quite a while ago to get you on, and then we've got you on now. Actually recording this in March, believe it or not. I can't believe it's March already, you know.
Yeah. The other day when it turned March, it was ridiculous. What's happening?
Yeah, and yeah, so since the last podcast, I've turned 27 as well, so I'm getting old.
Happy birthday.
So, Max, I prepped you as well.
Yeah.
You said you're a bit nervous, but you ready?
First podcast.
It's scary.
Used to filming people, not being behind the camera.
I know. I messaged someone the other day, a woman, and she's a photographer. And I said, "Oh, do you want to go on the podcast?" She's like, "Oh, I don't like being on the other side."
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe you see like it's not always the best angle for other people when you're filming. You have to edit to get the nice bits. But nah.
Yeah, because I'm probably the opposite. I'm like, I don't really like being behind the camera that much. I like being behind the camera when someone else is filming, but I don't actually like that. I prefer being the subject.
Yeah, I don't mind it, to be fair. I kind of force myself into it because I know it's like a good thing, positive.
Yeah, defo. So the way we start the podcast is, what I'll do is, I don't think I told you about this, but so I'll get you to introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners. So if you're meeting someone for the first time, you're introducing yourself. To anyone that hasn't came across you before, how would you introduce yourself?
Okay, do I do this to the camera?
Yeah, at the camera, yeah.
So yeah, I'm Max. I'm 23 years old, and so
I put you on the spot from there.
Went to Friars, like my man over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, then been to uni, did a placement year, and moved back to Carlisle, where I grew up mostly. So yeah, started a social media kind of business about just over a year ago, and here we are.
Nice. That's cool. So then we'll go into the 3 facts about yourself then. So what are the 3 facts?
So yeah, first one was I did most of my growing up when I was younger in Malaysia, when I was 3 till 13. Second fact is it took until I was quite an old age for people to find out that I needed glasses. And then third fact is these are quite niche facts.
That's good.
I've got an Airbnb in my house, in my spare room, and I once thought I had a Rouge stripper staying in there.
I swear that's 4 facts though. Too interesting. Cool. So the first one was you spent between 3 and 13 growing up in Malaysia then?
Yeah.
One of my ex-girlfriends was half Malaysian as well. So what was that like? I never actually went to Malaysia, but what was it like?
Yeah, really cool sort of place. I love kind of that culture in Southeast Asia, just like hot, amazing food, really friendly people, lots to do. Yeah, so Dad worked out there, and like I went to an international school and stuff. Just pretty cool experience overall.
Nice. So then you moved back over when you were 13 then, did you?
Yeah, moved back when I was 13, back to Carlisle. Bit of a change.
Yeah, sunny Carlisle.
Changing, yeah, just the size of like the city and stuff from a capital city to Carlisle. And then like just different kind of scenery, weather and everything. So
nice.
Yeah.
So then the second one was you found out you needed glasses at an old age, did you?
Yeah.
So how did that come about? You're just walking into walls or lampposts or?
Well, basically it was kind of like, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 around there. And my parents got called into school one day to chat to the teachers, and they said to them like, Max is kind of wandering around sometimes at break time on his own and like crying because he can't find his friends. They said like maybe he needs to get his eyes tested. So then yeah, parents took me in and found out I was pre-blind. So, yeah, that's why I couldn't find anyone. So that was quite a nice change for me when I could like see.
So you're not wearing glasses now. Do you wear contacts or do you have laser? Or?
Wear contacts pretty much full time now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, kind of not a biggest fan of wearing glasses. Yeah.
I feel like some people can pull off glasses, or glasses are more cool now than they were back then.
Yeah, definitely like some people pull them off in like different styles and like, you know, you get branded ones and that. I'm starting to like wear them more now, like out and about in public and like trying to trying to pull them off, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'd just be more myself when I've got glasses on. But you can go and get some more maybe.
Yeah.
Try out some different styles.
I know my mum and dad both wear glasses and me and my brother don't. So,
Lucky.
yeah, I don't know how that's came about. Maybe I will soon because I'm staring at the screen all day. But the third one, what was the third fact? Because I got mixed up with the third and the fourth.
Airbnb?
Airbnb one, yeah. So, yeah, so how have you got the Airbnb in your spare room? How does that work then?
So, yeah, basically I live in like a 3-bed house with someone I went to school with, and just like to help with paying bills and stuff, sort of set up an Airbnb in the spare room. So I'll get sort of random people coming in most of the time. It's actually pretty booked out.
Yeah.
Like, works really well. Like, I'd recommend Airbnb to anyone. But yeah, you get all sorts of people in there, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I had someone I thought was a stripper.
Yeah. Why did you have them thoughts then? Was it what you heard, what was going on in the room? Or
Well, like, you can see people's profile pictures before they arrive. And so, like, an attractive girl from Newcastle come in. So, and then, like, I was going out on that evening. She arrived, so I didn't really see her until I came back at 3 a.m. and she was just like getting back at the same time. So I remember just kind of being like pretty pissed in the kitchen chatting to her. And then like the next day I was just convinced, like we talked about her being a stripper in Rouge. And I just had that in my head. Like I remember like I was sitting on the counter like calling her beautiful and stuff. But then like on the last day, I asked her like how her night was last night, and she said it was shit. And I said like, oh, was Rouge not busy or something? And she said, oh, don't work in Rouge. I was just working in like Walkabout or something. So yeah, years I was going around telling everyone I got a stripper.
Nice. So there were 3 good facts. So what we normally do then on the podcast is go back to a little Max growing up. So maybe like your first memory or anything that you kind of think that's shaped you to who you are today. It's not really that deep, but just any like little childhood memories or things you were going through school that you really think like, oh, now you're a bit older and you can reflect more on your youth, that you think, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I think I was quite like cheeky growing up, cheeky, mischievous. Yeah, I had like a big sort of melon head, got pretty straight hair, and I used to just kind of flop down in the melon shape. So that was young Max. I think I've always been quite competitive, competitive and sort of wanting to try new things all the time. Like I'll just put myself into different scenarios all the time. I was quite competitive. I think as I've got older, I've become kind of a lot more selective with my competitiveness. So I'll like choose my battles and like be really laid back and not really care about other sort of things. But then still, yeah, I think growing up, I always sort of think of myself as, even if I'm not that worried or bothered in particular about sort of the outcome I'm gonna achieve, like I always feel like I can't put anything less than like 100% into everything. Like I remember with like GCSEs and A-levels, I'd be like cramming revision like really intensely, just like not even because I wanted to do well in my GCSEs, just always had that sort of not even mentality, just unconsciously even just kind of do my best and everything. So yeah, and then
so give me an example then of when you feel like you were competitive then growing up, apart from say your GCSEs. Was it more like academically, or was it more like the sports side of things, or what did you really like winning at or striving to be the best?
Kind of like sport and like especially kind of running. I remember being super competitive at running. I was like decent at long distance, so that sort of thing, even though kind of everyone wanted to avoid long distance at all costs.
Yeah.
Everyone hated cross country and stuff. I kind of hated it too, but just kind of wanted to win at that. I remember being super competitive on like house cross country, and I remember like beating Mr. Barrowclough one year and being like buzzing with myself.
Because I suppose like running, that's a very like solo sport, isn't it? So did you enjoy more of the solo kind of things than the work in the team, say like playing football or playing rugby and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of a bit of a combination. Like I love socializing and like that team mentality, but I also kind of enjoy doing my own thing and just being responsible for myself and being like competitive on an individual level. I think that kind of applies kind of to my like social life. Kind of love going to the pub and socializing, but also love kind of just being on my own, and like now turning that into working on a business and just doing my own thing.
So when you were growing up then, where did you kind of fit in the friendship group or the group scenario or the team? Where did you kind of fit in that?
Yeah, I think I was in the team, probably like one of the quieter ones, but who would kind of lead by example. Like I was vice captain of the Fries rugby team, but not because I was like loud or anything, just because I know kind of was hard work. And then I think I've always in social groups been the kind of person who's part of every group. Like at school there's like kind of different groups and stuff, and I feel like I was always kind of like part of all of them, and I could kind of like go between pretty happily and pick and choose more than most people, which probably then lent into sort of being in a sports team and being able to like communicate and stuff and be relatable with sort of a wider part of that group.
Because that's the thing, like when you're growing up, isn't it, that say when you're looking back at it now and you're saying that you could easily relate to all the different friendship groups and everyone, that's a skill in itself, isn't it? Whereas you think that teamwork is probably one of the most important skills to have, is to be able to understand people, because people are the most complex things in the world, aren't they? There could be a logical thing to do or a logical answer, but people think and act in different ways. So being able to like communicate with them is such a valuable skill. So you've obviously had that and developed that growing up, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, probably from like being in Malaysia and having different groups at school and then sports teams and whatever, and then I think that's maybe probably just a natural skill of kind of being quite approachable. And then I feel like maybe sometimes like the kind of louder people, like that's great to be sort of confident and loud, but then you don't sort of listen as much and sort of hear other people's point of views and understand them. So maybe I've just kind of been a good listener. Yeah,
you need different kind of leaders, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's important, like you say, not everyone can, you can't have everyone just shouting and screaming, can you?
Yeah.
Then you're not going to get anywhere. No. But so then when you were growing up then, what did you want to do, or what did you want to be? Did you aspire to, I don't know, be a fireman, or did you want to do social media? Because I know when I was growing up, social media wasn't really a thing. And so what did you, like, I wanted to be a footballer when I was growing up, and I thought, but that never happened.
Did you get close before you start?
Yeah, I played for Carlisle, but I got released. I was like 15 or something, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to dress up as Fireman Sam all the time. You said fireman.
Got until last year.
Yeah. My parents sort of started getting worried because I had this Fireman Sam hat on like all the time, and it was like starting to push my ears out. So they get a bit worried about that. So I put a stop to it. But yeah.
Was it not even a thought? Was it just kind of coasting by and just?
I feel like I've kind of been coasting by like most of the way through my life, just kind of thinking that like things will work themselves out and like an opportunity will come and I'll like figure it out. Can't like sort of think that I've had sort of specific long-term career goals at any point.
Because when you were 13 then coming back from Malaysia, how was that? What did it feel like to come back from Malaysia to obviously Carlisle, very different? Yeah, it's such a 13, such a young age still, isn't it? And it's an important age.
Yeah, I feel like it was sort of just a change in like the sort of people and stuff. Sort of felt when I came back, I know it's kind of maybe like a bit of a sort of bit of a jump in terms of like growing up. Like I was kind of a kid in Malaysia and then came back to the UK, and it was like sort of like these sort of intense social sort of situations and that in school. And I feel like I kind of grew up quite a lot when I came back and like started actually sort of caring about what people think of me a bit more and that sort of thing, even though that's kind of completely gone away as I got older. I've lost track of the question.
No, I was just saying that when you came back from Malaysia when you were 13, what was that feeling like? Because I know it's a big adjustment, isn't it, at such an important age? Because 13, that's just before your GCSEs, and like you say, you care what people think, don't you? You want to be friends with everyone, and you want to look good, and you want girls to fancy you, and all that kind of stuff, or whoever to fancy you. And that, so what was that feeling like? How was the adjustment?
I started in third form at Friars.
That's like year 9, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like everyone knew each other already, and then I was kind of like new kid on the block. So yeah, it felt like quite intense, kind of sort of establishing yourself in like this whole social dynamic that's already there. But I feel like it's probably quite a valuable experience to have gone through. Now, like going to uni and being like everyone's new, or like going into a placement year and sort of being new, and then just sort of every new scenario you put yourself in like business, like networking and stuff, just being confident to sort of that you'll sort of be all right, basically.
Yeah.
Sort of fit in. You've got your own unique things to offer.
Yeah, I think I always say that you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, otherwise you won't grow. And being put in uncomfortable situations is important. Like I'm sure you're uncomfortable being on the podcast, but you know it's going to be good for you in public speaking and stuff. But I think a lot of people just coast through life, especially when they leave like school, is they'll just go to work and just do their own thing, and they won't push themselves to get to the next level. And not everyone wants to do that, do they? Not everyone wants to achieve things, and they're happy just doing that. But if you want to do something different or aspire to be a bit better, then you've got to do things that maybe you're not sure of or you're not comfortable doing, but you need to think in the long term that's the only way to grow. Yeah,
that's 100% one of the biggest things. I think like no one sort of successful or anything was comfortable. Like they just did it without sort of thinking. They had to sort of take risks and sort of feel like an imposter for a bit, and that's kind of normal. Yeah, sort of putting yourself outside your comfort zone, because then you become comfortable in those situations, and that's 100% how you grow. So that's something I'm quite conscious of, like going through everything in life or business. Like, yeah, it's not nice, like sometimes, like, but yeah, kind of just force yourself into it, like knowing like you'll come back out the other side better. Yeah, that's definitely a big thing.
Yeah. So then when you were going through school, then what was the plan? Was it always go to university, or was it leave and get a job, or what was the kind of thought process? I know a lot of people these days in school, especially Austin Priors as well, it's very go to sixth form, go to uni, because they want bums on seats, because they want the money in the pocket if it's a private school, when they want your mum and dad to pay the fees, or at public school because they get the funding from the government, isn't it? So it's very just education. So is that always the plan, to go to uni?
Yeah, it was 100% sort of what happened with me. I was kind of on that track, like placed on me by kind of the school I went to, and just like the fact that I wasn't really aware of any other options, and that I kind of wanted to delay like having to think about what I want to do properly as a job. I think like uni is quite an easy option for people that come out of school to sort of before you get into the real world, basically. But not that that's like a bad thing. You're still quite young when you finish school, and I think those years at uni are really kind of valuable and important to just sort of grow up a bit and figure out what you want to do, and come out of it with some really like transferable skills, even if it's not sort of the academic thing you want to do.
I think, yeah, it's a big decision for any 18-year-old to make, isn't it? Because you're basically saying, oh, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And maybe like our parents' generation, like my dad's done the same job for his whole life.
Yeah. And
that's probably what most people have done. All they've done similar things, but I feel like our generation, they maybe will flip between a few different things and get a few different jobs and try a few different careers, because that's just the way it is. So what did you end up doing at university then when you decided to go?
So I did sport management.
Oh, nice.
Because I thought I want to do something business related, and like I was always in sport. I just sport, like that sounds like a pretty interesting degree, like a decent thing to do. So yeah, I can't really remember like the exact thought process, but
was it what's the easiest course to get on with the easiest grades? That's what I did anyway.
It's not too sort of intense and academic. Yeah, 100%. Like sport management's that kind of
Where did you end up going?
Yeah, A level and then get on. Went to Loughborough.
Oh, nice.
So
Really sporty uni then.
yeah. So best uni in the world for sport related courses apparently, which I went on. I don't know, not sure it felt like that. I don't know, but it was really valuable. But I think going to a university that's so sporty makes you play less sport in my case, because like to get on any of the teams at Loughborough, you have to be sort of like at an insane level. So me just like enjoying playing rugby or whatever, like never really got sniffed. So then I just didn't end up playing, and then sort of got into more like house parties and that sort of stuff to fill up my weekends.
Yeah, that's what most people do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Me included. Yeah. What would you say then you learned at uni? Was it more stuff about yourself, or did you learn about the course, or how would you kind of like summarize your whole experience?
Yeah, just like grew up kind of sort of understood sort of like how to sort of interact with different people and just like different like social skills and stuff. The course don't really do anything too related to what I learned, but there's always like little transferable things you learn in there that's kind of like background knowledge that you don't really think about, but you'll be in a meeting and like people will be talking about and like you understand it, and then just kind of using sort of Google Docs and like sharing and doing group work and all that sort of thing, like doing public speaking stuff, a lot of transferable skills. But yeah, then I went on my placement year, and that's kind of where I thought like the foundations for what I do now were kind of really built.
So how did that foundation year come about? The placement year, sorry, come about?
So I know at Loughborough, like everyone seemed to do a placement. I feel like talking to a lot of people from other unis, it was a bit more like rare, but
I did a placement.
Did it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I had to pick that uni because they did a placement, you know what I mean? Whereas like you say, lots of them didn't.
Yeah, because I kind of picked that uni as well because I thought I want to come out of uni with like experience, because I wanted to sort of be able to differentiate myself a bit, because I feel like hundreds of thousands of people have degrees. It's like to come out with experience as well. I thought was like necessary, and then ended up just getting this sort of placement as like a customer success executive. So did all like the customer support online basically for like a sports coaching company. So they had like a library of drills or whatever, and it sold to coaches for inspiration. And then I ended up doing a bit of social media stuff for them, because they gave me some sort of freedom to choose what I wanted to do, and just ended up like posting random things on Instagram and whatever. And then kind of thought, yeah, it's quite interesting. I know when I was younger, I was kind of a bit of an Instagram boy, like for like with a few of my mates, like saying we need to get photos and stuff for the gram and whatever. And then at the end of that placement year, I kind of knew I didn't want to sort of have a job in that 9-to-5 life.
When did you realise that then? Was it always growing up, or was it just when you did your placement?
Like during the placement.
Okay.
Just during the placement. I actually ended up doing like this kind of pyramid scheme a bit from someone I met in like my communal office in London, which like I never ended up making any money from or anything, but just kind of showed me like that you can think of other ways to like make money and have a career that's not sort of working 9 to 5.
I think that's the one thing people don't realise though. It is so easy to make, well, within reason, it's so easy to make money in various different ways, isn't it? Yeah. Without just being paid for your time. Like
your time. Literally
just going into work. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like some people are just happy doing it, but for me personally, I'd be miserable. And if I have to do it in the future, then fair dues. But yeah, rather than just say being employed by someone to work your 8 to 10 hours and get paid a set amount.
Paid for your time, not like your value, which is a big thing. Like on this pyramid scheme thing, they would sort of teach you what to say to other people to get them on, which like a lot of it was based around this sort of you don't want to be paid for your time kind of thing. And so yeah, that I just met this guy randomly in my office who was like a WeWork. I don't know if you
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Like free beer in the communal bits. But yeah, that was kind of, even though it was like a bit embarrassing at the time, like so people know you've done it and like it's a pyramid scheme, whatever. But yeah, I kind of learned, I just had quite a valuable impact in my mindset probably.
Yeah, it's all about testing different things out, isn't it? And figuring out what's been valuable, what you like, what you don't like, and what you do again, and what you think's rubbish. So then after you finish your placement, then how many years did you have left at uni? 1 year. So how was that final year for you? Was it literally just trying to find a job, or is it how you can set up your own business, or what was the kind of thought process in the final year?
Kind of just get to the end of it. I was like pretty ready to finish.
Final year's awful.
Yeah, like I was so done with just uni education. I had like a great group of friends and stuff, but then it was like COVID, so we weren't like socializing and that. So it was kind of like stuck in this house, and I was kind of just waiting for it to go over. Still like worked really hard on my disc and stuff, to be fair, which hasn't ended up helping me at all, but still like helped me sort of get used to those like working late at night and stuff. I think probably that's one of the main things I took out of final year.
Working late at night?
Yeah.
At uni, yeah, I'd be working till like 3 a.m. to get the thing done or whatever, because you just leave it to the last minute, don't you? Yeah. Even though you know the deadline, and it just keeps on creeping up, and you think,
he's so bad if you just spent a few hours on it, like you stay in the build up, but
that's just too easy.
Yeah. Put yourself under pressure now.
Yeah.
Like now I feel like kind of a bit under pressure all the time, but I guess I'm more prepared for that now.
It's good though, isn't it? Yeah. So then, when you came to the end of the disc then, and you were graduating and stuff, did you have a job lined up, or was it just try and set up on your own? Was it still the social media thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, but through final year, I kind of had this idea that I could sort of do freelance social media stuff. And then like someone I went to school with, like the Tompkins, they have this farm, wholesale farm, that do like really incredible meat, and I knew him quite well. So sort of after uni, I kind of like messaged his mum, who I knew from like working on stores and stuff, and said like, do you want some help doing like bits of social media? So like went to the farm and had a chat with them, and then ended up coming to like an agreement with what I can help them with. And then, so yeah, they ended up becoming my first client.
Oh, nice. Never forget your first clients.
Yeah. I remember like driving along the farm track, like after I'd secured my first client, being like absolutely buzzing with myself, like call my mum.
Yeah.
Big moment.
It is such a big moment, yeah.
Yeah, like tapping the steering wheel.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. Then I literally had one client for sort of 7 months-ish, like fucking long time. During that time, I was kind of like developing my skills and stuff, pretty much all self-taught on like the basics, like Canva and video editing and like filming and photography. So yeah, that was quite a valuable 7 months to just like increase my sort of capabilities to a point where like businesses that I don't know would be happy to take me on. But yeah, it was quite like a nerve-wracking sort of time towards the end when like nothing was happening, and I was like, I'm gonna have to rethink like what's gonna happen here. But yeah, it came through, and got my second client from like just chatting to someone at a farmer's market, and then sort of started going from there, and now I'm flat out. So
yeah. I think it's valuable though, isn't it, when you're quiet and when you're just starting out, because you've got a lot of time to think. And even though it is quite dangerous one side, it is important, because I remember when I restarted my business in COVID, me and my business partner split. I had literally no clients, no income, and I was just so much time to like do different things and try things and stuff. And then you look back and you think, I wish I had that much time now. But it's just about not giving up. I feel like persistence and like being consistent is so valuable, because lots of people want to have their own business, but really they want the freedom, but they don't want to put in the work, do they?
Yeah.
It's about sticking it out long enough.
Yeah, you got to stick it out and sort of just have faith in this vision that you've got, and be consistent, and kind of like not be scared to kind of like sort of put yourself out there, like as if you were like a agency business, even though you've only got one client. And yeah, and I think I have all that time to sort of develop, but that was going to be one of my sort of mistakes looking back. When I had all that time, I don't think I utilized it well. And now, yeah, like you say, I look back and say I wish I had that time.
But you'll have that soon anyway.
Yeah.
So then what was it like then, if people are watching this or listening? What was it like then, like setting up your own business or social media business, or how did you do it, or was there anything that you did, or was it just kind of just like...
Yeah, looking back, it's kind of like a crazy time. I feel like I've just been kind of winging it the whole time. Like,
I think everyone always does.
Yeah. I don't think like I sort of went about everything like you should to sort of start a social media agency. I just started like posting for people, started my own Instagram, started buying people's food, and started like making stuff and tagging them on Instagram. And then just like maybe messaging people, like thinking, how can I get more clients? Maybe I need to sort of make a plan for someone and just go and give it to them. So like trial and error, I think, is a big thing. Just trying to think of new ways to go about things and then just doing them. And just...
So if you were to give someone a bit of advice now to say they want to start their own social media agency, what would you say for them to do now, looking back? What would be the first thing you do?
I'd say just start. Like, if you're thinking about it, just start, because that's like, you think to start, you need to be sort of have everything in place and be ready to like be this business owner and whatever, but you really don't. Like, I think you'll figure it out as you go. But like the most important thing is to like start now. Like, yeah, I always wish with things like I'd sort of been quicker to respond and just done things rather than like waiting to a time where I thought I'd be like more ready for it. So yeah, that'd be my advice. And yeah, just I know, one of the things with me starting my business that I think was valuable was to kind of be a customer first to these businesses. Like, just go to a farmer's market or wherever you'd like find your clients and like just talk to them and like sort of ask them about their products, buy their products, and then like come back and sort of feedback on them, and then like tag them on if you have a business Instagram or whatever. And yeah, that's probably another bit of advice.
I think meeting people face to face is important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And less and less people do it these days. I'm one of them as well, because like COVID, it's all like over Zoom and stuff, isn't it? And if you can build that relationship in person, you can really get a feel of what they're like and how they respond to things and stuff, which is definitely important, I think. Because it's all it is relationships, isn't it, at the end of the day?
100% a different sort of, way of community, or just different like feel of sort of being with someone who feels like you make more of a connection and like are more trustworthy and like you can be yourself a bit better, I think. Yeah, relationships over everything. I think like if you can build that before, then they're more likely to, like you say, trust you, aren't they? And then say further down the line, if you maybe did fuck up or did something wrong, or your content wasn't that great 1 week or 1 month, they're more likely to think, oh well, he's trying, or he's doing whatever, or he does care, and that kind of thing. So you're not just like a sort of name at the top of a WhatsApp, like when you message them about maybe something that like you've been meaning to do for a while and like it's not got done, then it's just I think more personable and like gonna benefit you sort of massively. Or if you're just sending someone like a sort of plan, like here's what I could do for you, then like they're actually imagining you as a person doing it rather than just like have this sort of text on screen. I think it's important.
So how things kind of progressed then, obviously after the second client, how did things kind of like kick on? Or when was the moment you thought like, oh, this could actually work? Because like you said, 7 months you were thinking, you're having doubts and you're thinking, bloody hell, is this going to actually work or not? And then second client, was it really full steam ahead then, or was it still kind of a bit in limbo?
Second client like made me actually feel like this is a business now. I'm not just helping out a friend. And then my third client ended up being like, so I started off being really off niche and just saying like I'd do it for everyone, but obviously just liked food businesses. But then like I sort of decided to proper niche down and sort of make myself like a food brand and go after food businesses, try and help. But then ended up getting my third client being like a medical simulation client, because my mum's neighbours were opposite the workshop that builds these kind of medical mannequins that have their like legs blown off and stuff and stop the bleed. And that's just kind of ended up progressing into my biggest client really, because they're part of a collective of different businesses that are now kind of I'm working for kind of all of them a bit. So that's kind of happened quite organically by chance, and that's been great. It's definitely sort of a good sort of for my cash and being able to sort of invest in different things, and then started doing kind of more local random businesses, like, well, for this office, got a beer company, which was like one of the things I was thinking about from the start, like how cool would that be? I remember, driving back from when they said they wanted some help, like with a massive smile on my face. And then doing like for the gym at BC, the Holston, my most recent one, which I'm buzzing about. I think that's kind of a bit of a step into the mainstream. And I think like 11 in total. And that's me pretty flat out now trying to work out where do I go from here? How do I scale this and stuff? And not having to think about, I went from sort of trying to do loads of marketing and for myself and talk to people to not doing any at all, and kind of things have just been coming my way, which has been nice. Yeah.
So what would you say you've kind of learned then from, say, the second one to now where you're at 11?
I think kind of, well, in terms of like social media strategy and stuff, to make it a lot more personal, a lot more kind of what people like want to see, how business works and who's running it, and like interesting content rather than, I know, being salesy and stuff. And then from like a running a business point of view, just to try and make as much as you can automated, and always trying to think about how to make your time more efficient and like valuing your time a bit. I think at the start, like, when I was more new as a business, I was kind of really cheap and like not really thinking I was providing enough value to charge certain prices. So I think by working with the Creative Hutch in this office as well, I've kind of learned to value my time a bit better as like a freelancer and someone with experience. So that's probably one of the main things I've learned. Yeah,
I think when you first started out, well, when I first started out, our first two clients were £200 a month and £300 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you think like, because we didn't have any social proof. It was just our word and stuff. So then, like you say, you build up your experience and you build up your value. And as soon as you can have the confidence to start charging more and realize how much value you do bring to them, and that's when you do start to progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
And over time. And that's the thing. I think lots of people I speak to on the podcast is every business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call them, everyone's impatient. You know what I mean? Everyone wants it now, but that's the name of the game, isn't it? You just got to be patient and just trust the process and believe in yourself.
Yeah, it's such a process. It's you have all these ideas in your head, and like all the businesses you work with have all these ideas in their head as well. But it's like a massive process, which you start to appreciate more as you look back at your business and where it's come from, which is, like mad to see the journey. But then clients, maybe like expect, well, don't know what to expect really. And then you like check a number at them and they're sort of unsure and stuff. But it's just like having more social proof and stuff helps. And well, word of mouth, I think, has been probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, word of mouth's so powerful though, isn't it? Like no matter how many emails you send or ads you run or messages you send on Instagram, there's nothing more powerful than somebody saying to the other business owner, mate, like, go and check Max out. He should be so good for your business and stuff. Because then you've already got that trust, haven't you? And then you can kind of dictate the price a bit more because you've got the upper hand, because that's a warm or a hot lead. Whereas if I'm reaching out to somebody, a stranger, it's me having the uphill battle to try and get that trust from them. And it's more difficult that way. But so then what would you say then the next kind of steps for you the next steps for you then are in 2023? What's in the plans?
Plans to keep growing really. I think I've kind of hit a wall with what I can do on my own. So over the next few months, trying to work out how I can help more businesses, particularly the food side. So, I mean, well, further down the line, I want to have like a professional chef, professional video editor, professional graphic designer and stuff. And then I can sort of spend my time sort of building a community. Sort of my goals with Bakebox Socials is to sort of build a stronger community in the food business, so get everyone collaborating more. I think on social media, like it's like such a massive thing, collaborating between these different food businesses. Like they all share similar customers, they all have their own followings and stuff. If we could all like group together, like how powerful could that be for sort of northern food producers? So I kind of want to be like a bit of a hub for collaboration and just sort of expand my like content creation services in there on things like Fiverr and stuff as well, to start driving more business from other areas. Definitely grow my own social media. Not really had a chance to actually put a strategy in place for my own social media, so definitely want to start doing that a bit better and make it kind of a page that's dedicated to like sort of showing people how they could like shop local a bit more and like find all these like amazing local suppliers, which I'm really passionate about.
Nice. Question slightly off
on a bit there.
No, it's your podcast. You're meant to talk. I'm not meant to do the talking. I was going to say, why did you pick Bakebox Socials as your name? It's not a nerve certificate, is it?
No. Yeah. So I wanted it to be kind of a bit fun and sort of have some sort of relation to like Northeast food. And so I was just searching in sort of Google and stuff for Geordie words for food, and like came across bait. And then like I think my dad was kind of saying like bait box was like a word he used to use at school in Newcastle for like your lunchbox sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it kind of sounded like sort of beatbox. It's a bit like catchy maybe. And then seems like everyone on Instagram that does social media has socials after their brand. So yeah, Bakebox Socials.
Oh, cool. There's actually a bit of thought process that went into that. Nice. I like that. So then you say you want to be a hub then. So would it be like businesses would want to come to you so they can collaborate with your other clients and that kind of thing, and you can all kind of grow together?
Just sort of,
why a community, would you say? What appeals to you of that? Or
just because I think like they're not as like, it's hard for them to have a big impact on their own and sort of compete with like supermarkets and or whoever who has like all these resources in marketing and like get the word out about their product. So I think if people are kind of working together a bit more, then that would be a massive way to sort of get the word out about how unique their products are, like value for money you get with them, and just like the whole thing of supporting small businesses, like local business owners all seem like pretty mental with like so much going on, and like life's like not easy. It's definitely hard running your own business, and I like every order they get I think like means the world. So rather than like going to Tesco where you're gonna sort of buy someone's like third home, some big boss. So I think plus if I like, well, for my clients individually, I think I'm always thinking how can we collaborate, because then that's more ways to get their eyes on their product and grow their social medias. So I've always tried to do collaborations, and then that's just kind of led to me thinking like if I was representing a load of different food businesses, then like people would start coming to me saying like, can we get involved in this collaboration and stuff, because they're seeing like the impact it has. Yeah.
what appeals to you about food businesses then?
Yeah, like I was never massively into cooking until uni, and then just I don't know, I was watching like a load of YouTube videos. They're not that comfy, these chairs. Like Gordon Ramsay and stuff, and then started getting into cooking, and then when I thought I wanted to start a social media business, like the only business I could think of where I like knew the people were this food business, and then started like going to farmers markets a lot and like chatting to them and realizing like how like unique all their products are, and like how much thought and effort goes into them. So then I just started thinking like, I only know this because I've got into this business. But like so many people just have no idea like the kind of sort of world that's out there with sort of these local producers. So I know I just felt like a kind of urge to sort of spread the word with that a little bit. Yeah.
Cool. So then the next part of the podcast is the biggest mistake or biggest regret, either in your personal life, your business life, or both. What are you going to do? You're going to do one or the other or both, or have you prepped for this?
Yeah. I think probably focus on business.
Yeah.
I think I made loads of mistakes in my personal life.
Yeah, you don't want to share.
It'll just be too embarrassing. But also, like, I don't really gloss over. I just gloss over mistakes in my personal life. I think, like, look back and think all that's turned you into the person you are now. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. So there's no point worrying about what could have been. But yeah, business. One of them is probably being slow to react to things like TikTok and things like Instagram Reels. Like, I was super slow to react and just think, if only started posting consistently. Like when TikTok first came out.
Why do you think you were too slow?
Well, I don't think it's ever too late. Like, I could definitely start doing that now and have the impact that I want. But just think, like, looking back at like when these things came out, like Reels as well. Like, there's a ton of accounts that I like follow now that I discovered through Reels that were kind of the first ones to sort of realize, if we start posting every day on Reels and have a good hook, keep people's attention, provide value, like, then their videos were getting like mad views and stuff. And like, I could have done that, but I was kind of slow finishing uni, going to the pub a lot, that sort of thing. But
You're just enjoying your life though.
yeah. And so yeah, not a regret, but something I think would have been mega.
Because I remember, say, Instagram, when I was at uni, I was thinking, I wish I was early to Instagram so I'd have more followers. Then when TikTok came around, I just thought, I've just got to just do whatever and anything and everything and just post on there, find out what works, and get loads of followers. And like you say, it's just get in there early. And then if you're there early, you just work it out.
Yeah.
Like, work it out, just post. Like, it took me 400 videos to get one viral video. 400.
Really?
And most people would give up.
400
videos, yeah. And I was posting like random, I didn't do any like lip syncs. Maybe I did a couple. I can't remember. It was dancing. I maybe did like one or two dancing ones, and I was like, I cannot dance at all. And then a few like lip syncing ones and whatever. And it took 400 ones, and it was something to do with like, one was to do with like COVID, and one was to do about like relationships. And it got like 300,000, and the other one's got 400,000. And I was like, fucking hell. People actually just care about relatable stuff and don't care about me lip syncing words, and then just like rinse and repeat whatever works and just go over and over again. And then, yeah, I don't post on TikTok anymore, and I need to do it, and I want to change it, even though you should never do that. But yeah, just about being early to things. Like, look at the YouTubers that have been around for like 10 years. Some of them, like, some of their content now, you think there's way better content out there. They've been around for 10 years. They still smash it and earn a fortune.
And like, the algorithms know what people are going to be interested in that content. But I feel like for like newer ones, like the algorithm like doesn't really know who to show it to, so it ends up not showing it to as many people. So I think it takes time to teach the algorithm about who to show it to. But yeah, it's like, yeah, you learned that lesson from thinking you missed out on Instagram, and then when TikTok came around, you smashed it. So
It's never too late though. You're on TikTok now.
yeah, I'm on TikTok, but I need to get an actual strategy in place. I kind of want to do like some blind taste testing stuff, like local products, but in like a fun way. And then,
Because you want to do pain, question, shock factor, or social proof. They're the main four that we focus on.
question.
Like, yeah, start with either some kind of pain, whatever it is, some kind of
I
question.
want to do like pain, like how much water they put into supermarket bacon. I've already made a video on this in your post, but it's ridiculous. Like when you put it in the pan, it all like comes out and like shrinks, and it's mad. Then proper bacon's like stays the right size, and, like, doesn't shrink. That's a pain.
Yeah.
Question.
That's quite shocking as well though. No, I mean like they're the different hooks you should use.
Yeah.
I'll show you after on the document we use. But yeah, sorry, the other mistakes or regrets you're going to say? You've been too slow.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I've learnt my lesson, I think, from missing out on those things. And now I'm seeing like AI come into the mix quite heavily. So I'm like making a real effort to make sure I'm ahead of the curve with that, I think. So I'm I'm absolutely bashing out ChatGPT at the minute.
Oh, it's the best thing in the whole entire world, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Like I'm using it all the time, and I think it's going to be a really powerful tool.
Can you believe probably about 99% of people don't even know what it is?
Yeah, yeah, it's mad, and it's changed.
It's like one of them things. If you know, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Like showing it to people like my mum, and like she's like amazed and stuff. But yeah, and then I know running a business going forward, I definitely want to have that kind of mindset of if we're doing something, can we streamline it with AI? Yeah, I'm not gonna miss the boat on this one. It's one of my
be fast. Speed's important, isn't it? Especially I feel like as a small business, say like myself, you can be agile, can't you? Like these big marketing agencies that are way more expensive and stuff, they take ages to make a decision or go in a new direction.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're small, you can be agile, can't you? You can change like that.
Yeah.
That's a benefit, and I think that's what people like as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Go and make the most of that. Another mistake, yeah, like I mentioned, blank.
Anything you can think of, or
yeah, like not making the most of the time when I was quiet. So yeah, I could have spent a lot more time like developing my social media maybe, or like learning how to use things like Adobe, how to edit photos better. Like I can like edit photos pretty well, like as well as you can from an iPhone, but I'd love to be able to edit photos really professionally on Adobe. And like I'm still editing videos on CapCut, which I've ended up getting really good at because I've practiced loads. But if I just started on Adobe, like I'd be super good at that now, and I wouldn't have this ceiling that I've got on me now that I have with CapCut. Now I'm like growing, and like CapCut's holding me back in a way. I'm like in a bit of a tough spot. So yeah, I kind of wish I did that. I haven't got too many.
No, I think they're fine, aren't they? Like they're not nothing major, but it's just little learning lessons, isn't it? It's not like the major mistakes. It's just for the future, because
you make tons of mistakes along the way, like
every day, yeah.
And they're just learning for as long as you learn from them. Then it's nothing to like be like, oh, I wish I did that. It's just part of the journey.
Yeah,
we're on.
Exactly. Right. So coming to the end of the podcast now. Anything you want to round up on? Any maybe advice to any young budding business owners or entrepreneurs that want to start their own agency or anything you want to say?
Yeah, you can message me if you've got an idea, if you're wondering about starting your own business. Yeah, find us on Instagram. I'm best on there. Do the plug at Batesbox Socials, and yeah, just start, work it out later. If you're a food business interested in collaborating and stuff more, then here I am. Or if you're just someone who's kind of open to these or agrees with kind of these ideas of wanting to help sort of local businesses that are more sustainable, lower food miles, and passionate about Cumbria or Newcastle and small businesses, and think there's a journey to be had here, then follow on Insta and see where it goes.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming on. So everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video. Any questions for Max, leave them in the comments. Any future guest ideas, make sure to subscribe to the podcast too. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a 5-star review, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers.